We're here with the 996 GT3 RS. This is the Porsche that saved the 911, and we're going to tell you why. Back in the late 90s, Porsche stopped the 993 production and introduced the 996. They got rid of that world-famous air-cooled Porsche and introduced the water-cooled version of the 911, and it wasn't met with huge critical acclaim. After releasing the GT3, this GT3 RS is the one that came and saved the Porsche brand. This lightweight, track-focused version was all about the driving experience, and that's what saved the 911. This became an instant hit with journalists everywhere and really started the GT3 RS lineage. And later, stay tuned, because we're going to tell you why this is one of the most desirable 911s you can buy right now, and how actually it could become one of the fastest appreciating classics of the modern era. The GT3 RS was born out to homologate the current 911 GT3. To do that, Porsche had to make 200 of these cars, and they really leaned into that motorsport style pedigree. This car has the full roll cage. It really is a proper race car for the road. It really goes back to those 1973 2.7 RS type Porsches that didn't just create great cars, but created Porsche's motorsport heritage. So how do you make a 911 GT3 even wilder? Well, the Porsche engineers went all out for the RS, and they knew they had to, because they had to save that fairly poorly received 996 when it launched. So what they did, they focused on lightweight. They shaved 50 kilos against the GT3 car, taking this down to 1,360 kilo curb weight. They achieved that by looking at a motorsport style carbon rear wing, a carbon fiber bonnet, and this polycarbonate rear window. And the suspension got a bit of an overhaul as well, with the split control arms giving this amazing spine tingling type handling. We also had wider track tyres and of course the downforce from that big rear wing at the back. And of course, while we're down here, let's talk about the paint options, because it could come in any colour pretty much as long as it was white. But you did get the option of these red painted or blue painted wheels and side decals as well. So let's talk technical specs. This is not just a normal 911 engine. This is the Mezger engine. This is a race-derived 3.6 litre, flat six, naturally aspirated engine that is actually derived from the 911 GT1 Le Mans car. This kicks out 380 plus horsepower, does 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, and matched with the stopping power of 6 piston calipers up front, this goes and stops like a bloody race car. On paper, those numbers might not sound a lot. 380 horsepower isn't actually massive by today's 911 standards, where they're pushing out well over 500. But it's the combination, it's the way this car does it all together. It's the fact that it's a lightweight version, it's the fact that it's very track focused, and it's the fact that the power delivery is so smooth, so quick, and so visceral. That's what really makes this car stand out, because it all happens through a manual gearbox. It's a real driver's experience. In the day of EV cars and flappy paddles, this is the authentic driving experience everybody wants. So it's pretty clear to see why, as a driver, you're going to love this car. But as an investment specialist, there's a few numbers that I also love that really make this 911 stand out as really the one to have. And the first one of those is the exclusivity, the scarcity. Only 682 of these were made worldwide. To put that into context, the 991 GT3 RS, nearly 9,000 of those have been produced, and the 992 GT3 RS, Porsche have said pretty much they'll make as many as people order. That just removes that exclusivity and removes that scarcity, whereas this, they can't make any more, and there's only ever going to be 682 worldwide. So only 682 worldwide, that's a good point. But even better than that is there were 0 that were allocated to the North American market. This car was named the forbidden fruit over there because they just weren't allowed to have it. They had no access to it at all. And apart from 1 or 2 cars that have been imported as show cars, these things have never made it over the pond. For us, as an investment business, that's a fantastic opportunity, because when they're 25 years old, in 2028/29, they can actually be imported as collectible cars. That means they're exempt from those emissions, tax, safety laws, etc. that stop them in the first place, and that whole North American market opens up. Tiny, tiny supply, massive demand. That is a fantastic recipe for future appreciation, and why this one's the hottest tip we have for an appreciating modern classic. Plus, in recent news, you may have also seen that Donald Trump has announced these global tariffs on trade. The good news for collectible cars is that doesn't apply. These remain at the 2.5% import duty and don't have any more whacking tariffs to go onto them. So we know this is actually still a safe investment for the future as well. So inside the 911 GT3 RS, it's not exactly your family of four station wagon. This is definitely a track-focused machine, and you feel that with the Alcantara steering wheel, with the manual gearbox, and also with this full roll cage that's in your view. And that meant that because it was such a track-focused car, a lot of them went to the track, to the Nürburgring, to Spa, to Le Mans. They were driven hard. We've chosen this particular example because it wasn't one of those cars. And there's a couple of ways you can check to find out if you are thinking of getting into the GT3 RS market. First one is that rev range report. Take a look at how many times it's been out of rev range 1, a clear indicator if it's been over revved in second, third and fourth gear that it's been taken around the track. The next one to look at is obviously paintwork. If you go to the track, you get stones flying up and you get a lot of debris. This can often lead to panels needing to be repainted. This car has been fully PPF'd from new, and our paint depth gauge has told us that only the carbon bonnet has needed a slight touch up, giving us a really good indication that it's not been over revved, it's not had any paintwork, so it's unlikely to have been used and abused on the track. And the reason that's important is longevity. These are going to become collector's cars with prices now rising above 150, even up to £200,000 for a very, very low mileage example. And collectors and people that will want to own these for the future will kind of want to make sure the provenance is strong, the history is strong, and that it hasn't been going sideways around a track for most of its life. Okay, so let's wrap this up. The 996 GT3 RS is more than just a car. It's actually a time capsule for Porsche's pursuit of driving perfection. It's got the history of a driving icon, the perfection of the track pedigree, and the specs that still thrill. And plus, with that scarcity, it's also a real collector's dream. If you want to get involved in owning a stake of a GT3 RS, then there are still some options available on our website, hitthecarcrowd.uk, for more information about how you could join a syndicate to own this car outright. Subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments below, firstly, if you think that this 911 is the best one that's ever been made, and also if there's anything else in the unit behind us that you want to see a video on, just let us know down in the comments. We can't wait to see you guys on the next video.